Radiator install. This one wasn't as simple as the manual made it seem. There were actually a bunch of bits and bobs that were not listed in the manual that were required for at least the 420R. The radiator bolts that bolt onto the chassis, they don't match up to the brackets on the chassis. There are these two bracket adapters that you need for at least for my build, and they kind of look like this sort of L-shaped thing. It basically moves one hole from the chassis bracket a little bit lower to match up to the bolt on the radiator. So there are 4 bobbins. They're kind of like these rubber things that go between the radiator and the chassis. The 2 brackets that I already mentioned, and then a bunch of bolts and nylocs and washers. I had to find some extra M8 bolts and nylocs for that bracket adapter I was talking about. Those were in the fastener pack, the same fastener pack that had my engine bolts. And then the bobbins I found in the box for the suspension. They probably fell out of one of the bags, and they're either the suspension bag or the steering bag. And I also found the mount clips for the radiator fan in that box as well. So the brackets, they go onto the top of the radiator, not the bottom, and they go such that the brackets sort of go towards the engine, so that the bobbins for the radiator can sit right under the chassis bracket that's there. The mount clips for the radiator fan, they just clip into the fan. It was a little bit difficult to get in. If you just use a mallet, they'll go right in. I've seen another blog say put them in hot water for a little bit, lubricate them, and they'll slide right in. You could try that, but I just used a mallet. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. You follow the manual for the washers and the bolts. The one thing is that the extra M8 bolts I was speaking of that go into the brackets, they also need a washer. I found that in the same bag as I found the M8 bolts. Hopefully they're not for something else, but if so, I'll resolve that when I get to it. And then on the other side of the bracket where that uses those bolts, I just grabbed nylocs from that same pack. So again, for the bracket, it's a bolt plus a washer on one side and then a nyloc on the other side. And then for the radiator side, it's a bobbin on one side and then 2 washers and a nut. That's it.